there's a lot of guys that have great shooting mechanics and are very, very good shooters, but Steph Curry is special.
From @clayton.m, hi coach, can Indonesian player play in NBA?
Yeah, of course, anybody can. There's no restrictions on what country you are from. You can. You just have to be good enough. Young players need to understand every year there's only about 60 jobs available in the NBA. Only 60, and there's millions of players who would like those jobs. So you have to be one of the best 60 players in the world at that point in order to get that job. So it doesn't matter what country you're from, but you need to be good enough. And if you are good enough, people will find out about you. You don't have to worry about promoting yourself. Just if you can be playing, and you're the best player, then coaches will find you. You'll get opportunities at the next level. And if you're the best player there, then other coaches will find you and you'll get opportunity. But you need to be good first.
How good enough? You say it must be good enough. So how good enough?
Since I don't believe an Indonesian player has played in the NBA yet. For you to be the first, it's possible. You can do it. You would just need to be the best player in your country to have a chance. Since nobody has been able to yet, you can't be the third best player and expect to get an opportunity. You would need to be the best player. And Canada was in a similar. I'm from Canada. That's why I talk about Canada a lot. 15 years ago, 20 years ago, there weren't very many Canadian basketball players. And now there weren't very many Canadian NBA basketball players. And then Steve Nash came along, and he was Canadian, and he became very good. And now there are 25 Canadian NBA players. So it can happen very quickly once you get that first person to show the others how hard they need to work, how good they need to become.
So, I guess, is it possible to Indonesian players go to NBA?
Is it possible for international players to go to the NBA? Yes, there's players from all country, not every country, but from dozens of countries in the NBA.
Okay, I will translate it first. Jadi buat pertanyaan yang tadi, pemain Indonesia bisa aja nyampe di NBA dengan cara harus bisa jadi pemain terbaik, paling nggak jadi pemain terbaik di Indonesia. Nggak perlu worry sama gimana caranya bisa dikenal, karena pasti pemain terbaik di Indonesia pasti bakal kedengaran sama coach-coach lain sampai ke tingkat NBA itu bisa pasti. Jadi karena pemain Indonesia belum pernah ada yang main di NBA, ya cara kalian kalau mau jadi pemain NBA ya harus bisa jadi pemain terbaik di Indonesia biar bisa kelihatan. Okay, coach, what is the most wrong instruction that some coach give to the players?
I think the thing that coaches say to players at a young age is just giving them the impression that if you're a good shooter for 10 years old, for being a 10-year-old, that you don't need to improve. And unfortunately, you can be really a great shooter for a 10-year-old, but that isn't a very good shooter compared to a 22-year-old. And so the 10-year-old still needs to be improving, even if they're the best shooter on their team. They still need to be getting a lot better.
So yeah, even though they're best shooter in their age, but they're not good enough. You're saying like that.
Right, yeah. Right. You're not even when you're 15 years old, you are not a finished product. I'll take I'll take the worst NBA shooter up against the best 15-year-old, and the worst NBA shooter will still beat 15-year-old in shooting contests.
Oh yeah.
That's
okay,
how
so
good bad players are in the NBA.
from at coach_journal, shooting also requires instinct and feeling apart from mechanical shooting. Do you agree?
Yes, yes. There's a lot that goes into shooting. It's not just your physical, how you hold the basketball, but what goes on in your brain as well. Both are important. But I do believe that mechanics are where you start. How the body moves will play a large role in whether you become a good shooter.
Oh yeah. So how do the players can get that instinct and feeling when they're shooting?
By practicing a lot. I like to ask every shooter that I meet who is a great shooter. I like to ask them, who shot more than you growing up? Like, who practiced more than you? And all of them say, nobody. I practiced the most. If you want to become a great shooter, the easiest thing you can do is just shoot a lot. Shoot every day. I'm not even a great shooter. I'm a good shooter, but I'm not a great shooter, especially anymore. Growing up, I shot in the Canadian winter, I would put gloves on and still go out and shoot in the snow. And you need to be doing that. You can't expect to become a great shooter by shooting once in a while.
Oh yeah. So we should just repeat over and over with good form, I guess.
Yeah. Form will help. Be working to improve that. But the first thing you have to do is be consistent with like shooting a lot.
Okay, I will translate it, I guess. Jadi buat punya shooting yang bagus itu nggak cuman dengan teknik fisik yang bagus, tapi juga dengan insting, feeling, dan itu bisa didapetin dengan latihan yang banyak, diulang-ulang terus, tapi tetap ulang-ulangnya dengan shooting form yang benar. Jangan ulang-ulang dengan shooting form yang salah. From @coach.baskoro.arif, is there any updated micro method of skill on shooting nowadays compared to the old school method?
No, there isn't really any updated method. Some people think some people have the perception that we used to teach shooting this way and now we're teaching shooting this way, but what I found traveling the world is both ideas exist. Your perception of what is old school and what is a new idea is just based on what you learned first. And so there are two different ideas out there on shooting, but they've both been around forever. And there's no new ideas. You will always be a better shooter if you can simplify your shooting motion and create more energy at the target.
Oh yeah, so there is no new ones and the old school ones, it's just the same.
Well, what I think is old school, somebody else might think is new, and what I think is new, somebody else might think is old school, depending on what they learned first and what I learned first.
Yeah, it's just about which one they learn first, yeah.
Right.
Who's the NBA players that you think is the greatest shooter?
By results, I think it's hard to argue that anybody has ever been a better shooter than Steph Curry. The amount of shots that he makes, and then the difficulty of the shots that he makes, he's unbelievable. As far as how somebody shoots the basketball. I love the way that Klay Thompson shoots the ball. I love the way that Donovan Mitchell shoots the basketball. Duncan Robinson. There's a lot of guys that have great shooting mechanics and are very, very good shooters. But Steph Curry is special.
Did you ever practicing with Steph Curry?
I've stood 10 feet away from him as he's shooting before a game and watched him. But no, shooting coaches don't need to work with Steph Curry. He's already a good shooter.
So no good coaches need to work with him.
If I met Steph Curry, I would be asking him more questions than he would be asking me.
So you don't know how to make a better player, a better shooter than Steph Curry.
Well, no, right now it seems impossible. He's the best, and so we now have to figure out how do we make somebody even better than him.
Yeah, you need to figure it out. Okay, there is another question from our viewers from at chrisxavier.24. What the thing you remember most during the basketball training?
I would say, what is the thing I remember the most from my trainings? Like my best memory, or what should Chris be thinking about? Here, I'll answer. What should he be thinking about? He should know what is causing him to miss shots. He should have an idea of what his bad habits are, and then be working to get better at that little bad habit. So if your hand gets over on the side of the basketball, be working to get your hand into the correct position more. If you don't have very good balance, then working on that. Always know what you're working on every day. So many players just go out and they shoot, but they don't have a plan on what to work on when they shoot.
Okay, so you're saying that it's important to know where you still bad at shooting, so
just know what is holding you back and be working on it.
And coach, I'm wondering, perhaps one day you can come to Pekanbaru and help shooting clinics for us after the pandemic is over.
I would love that. I'm talking to a group in Singapore about coming, and I know I have a lot of followers on Instagram here in Indonesia, so I would love to set up some clinics there.
Yeah, I would love to meet you in real life.
Likewise, that would be fun.
From Coach at Coach_Journal. In your experience, what's the average time to change the habit wrong of mechanical shooting?
You never know. It does. You never know how long it's going to take, because what I think might be a simple habit for a player to break, they might have really a tough time with it, or I may think it will be difficult to break a habit, but that player may find it to be easy. So you never know. It does take longer than one workout. It takes weeks or months, but we never know exactly how long it will take, because even Steph Curry can get better. So there's no finish line. You'll never be a finished product.
But I wonder, how can Steph Curry be better than that?
Well, he shoots very difficult shots, and if he could shoot those shots on a bit better balance, then I think he could be a little bit better. But that's easy for me to say. When you've got 5 other elite athletes trying to stop you, sometimes you don't always get to be on perfect balance. So.
Yes. Okay, there's another question from at Agung Cheha. How you fix the player, especially yacht? They know the basic technique of shooting like frog, kangaroo, giraffe, but in real situation, they, they lose the form.
So when that's happening, they do simple basic shooting, and then they try and jump into a game. Then this gap is too big, and so what we need to do is say, okay, here's what we're working on, create a simple environment, a simple situation for them to work on it, and then apply it into this environment. Make the environment just slightly more difficult instead of like a game. And then once they can do it in this environment, jump to that environment, make it slightly more difficult again. And that's what takes the weeks and months, is to say, okay, learn to do this differently, then learn to do it in progressively more difficult environments that are progressively more like a game, rather than just trying to jump from here to there.
Coach, I guess I will end our conversation here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure chatting with you, and I hope everybody stays healthy and safe.
You too. Yeah, have a great day, Coach. Bye.
Bye-bye.